All right, ladies, we are on Thursday, December 2nd. This is our full body. So this type of workout we are doing for reps. So you're going to choose how many reps you want to do for each exercise, and they don't have to be the same. So we have one arm snatch, forward lunge, weighted sit-up, Superman. So this one I just did, I stayed on the same side instead of alternating because it was for reps. So I feel like it's just easier to count when you're doing side per side. Forward lunges, these you can do with or without weight. I did them weighted, but you don't have to. Weighted sit-ups. What's the last one? Oh, Superman's. All right, so as I was explaining, you're gonna pick. So what I did is I basically said, okay, I wanna do 100 of each, or whatever I picked. I think it was 100 of each. But I was doing this one upstairs. I didn't have all of my weights with me. And like for me, like body weight lunges is just too easy. So I ended up changing the rep for those. And then other ones I did less. So you don't have to pick the same number of reps for each one, but you have to pick, like if you're doing your one arm snatches, you have to do 60 and 60 on both sides, or 80 and 80 on both sides. Then maybe you're better at lunges. You might do 110, 110. Then maybe you're worse at weighted sit-ups and you only do 60. You know what I mean? So it doesn't, you don't have to have the same number of reps for each exercise, but that's how you're doing it. So instead of doing our rounds where you do a little bit of each, little bit of each, little bit of each, you are starting with number one, which is one arm snatches, and you're finishing that number that you pick. So if you pick 80 per arm, you have to do 80 on your right, then 80 on your left, then move on to number two, okay? And I also don't want you going back and forth. I don't want you to do 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. I want you to do all 80 on one arm, finish it, all 80 on the other arm, finished. Move on to number two, whatever that was, I already forgot. Forward lunges, 80 on this leg, finish it, 80 on this leg, finish it, okay? So the point of these type of workout styles is like fatigue. By doing one whole thing without switching back and forth and doing all of them without doing other exercises in between is going to make your muscles fatigued. That is the point, okay? So, one arm snatch. So typically I like to do these alternating, but because we're doing them for such a high number of reps, to me it's easier to stick with one arm. Like I was saying before, you want to fatigue that side, so that's the point of doing all of one at the same time. So with your snatch, you have the weight on the ground in the middle. You can do these hang or power. Power means it's coming from the ground. So from the ground up is power. From the hang means you come down between your legs, up, down between your legs, up, okay? So I personally did power from the hang because I was upstairs in my kitchen. I didn't want to bang the weight on the wood floor, so I did it from the hang. It doesn't matter. I personally like power better, but because of the floor, I did from the hang. So you can do either one. I'll show you both. So, make sure this stays on. Okay. So power means, again, you're coming from the floor. So you're going to grab the weight. And again, whenever you're picking up anything off the ground or you're close to the ground, you never want to have your back hunched. So you don't want to be like this. See how round my back is? You want to get into almost that deadlift position where your butt is back toward the wall. Look how much that straightened out my back. It went from this to this, just by pushing my butt back to the wall instead of down toward the ground, okay? So you want to make sure that your back is not hunched over. You're going to grab the weight. It's going to travel up the middle of your body, and you're going to flip it overhead. Back, down. Up the middle of your body, flip it overhead, 2, back down, 3, back down, 4, back down, 5, back down, 6. Notice how close the weight stays to my body, okay? So, slow slower and closer. When that weight comes up the middle of your body, you basically shrug your shoulder. Your shoulder can only shrug so high. Once it can't shrug anymore, you're gonna flip, okay? So that is the whole part of the snatch. The whole part of the snatch is that flip, all right? It'll take a little bit of getting used to, but you don't wanna do this. See what a big circle I'm making? That is not a snatch. This is a snatch. Flip. Up your body, flip. Up your body, shrug, flip. Up your body, shrug, flip, okay? And you're gonna obviously switch hands. If you do it from the hang, you're gonna come here between your legs, flip. Between the legs, flip. Between the legs, flip. Between the legs, flip. Between the legs, flip, okay? So it depends on what you want to do. Like I said, down here, the carpet, I don't mind. Upstairs, I was afraid of banging the weight onto the wood floor, so I opted for the hang. Forward lunges. So again, you can do these with or without weight. Like I said, for me, it's too light to do it without, or I'd have to do way more reps. So I did do it weighted, and then I actually did more because I only brought my 10s up with me. So your forward lunge. It's kind of, a lot of things are similar with your squat, but you're moving in a different direction because it's a lunge. So when you go forward, you're gonna step forward with one of your feet. So see how you can see both of my feet? That's called staggered. So when you lunge, you want your feet to be staggered. You do not want them to be tightrope, which is like this. Now you can't see my back foot. So that means my feet are totally in line. You don't want your feet in line when you lunge. You want them to be staggered. I can see both of my feet. I'm gonna drop down, 2 90-degree angles. My back and shoulders stay up. Come back up, back in. Okay? So it looks like from the side. See how I'm making pretty much 2 90-degree angles? My back is not folded, it's still up straight. Return, down, return, okay? Forward lunges I find are a little bit harder than reverse lunges because so much of the momentum goes forward when you go down, and then it's like you have to press off that toe and push yourself back. So I feel like they are definitely harder. If you're having a hard time, say with balance, you can always get near a ledge, a counter, or if you have a chair, and just hold on lightly to the back. And that way you don't feel like you're gonna tip over and you have a little bit more stability, okay? So again, you can do it body weight. If you wanna hold weights, usually the easiest way is to just hold one on either side of you, like this, okay? But again, you have to do the same number on both legs. Weighted sit-up. So a lot of people have like maybe a little area they can stick their toes under, or you might have one of those ab mats where it goes behind a little of your back to support you. I don't. So I typically just try my best. So you could use, like if you had heavier dumbbells, you could put those in front of you and stick your toes underneath. But so your sit-up, what your regular sit-up is you're on the ground with your legs bent, and instead of a crunch where you come here, sit-up is where you come all the way up, okay? So with the weight, you can kind of use it to your advantage. So typically, like you're supposed to keep the weight like very near or on your chest, but like I said, because there's nothing holding my feet, that's really like almost impossible for me to get up like that. If I hold it farther away, I can get up, okay? So I try to do this for as long as I can, but again, nothing's holding my feet, so it gets harder. So you can also bring it behind your head, and that really helps. Behind the head, up. Behind the head, up. Behind the head, up. Okay, so that's a little bit easier than keeping the weight here and not going behind your head, because when you go behind your head, now you have all that motion that helps you sit up, okay? So either way, it's still hard, and if you're going from back here up, you're getting a little added extra arm workout in, so it's not cheating, it's not bad. just do whatever one you can manage to do. And then I think the last one is Superman. Yep, okay. So this one stinks, especially being the last one if you're tired, because Superman's you're laying on your stomach. So if you're breathing kind of heavy, it just makes it all that harder to then be laying on your stomach while you're trying to breathe. So you're gonna have your arms in front of you and your legs behind you. They're gonna be kind of spread out. And what your Superman is you're lifting your arms and your legs off the ground at the same time, kind of like an opposite V up. And then you're gonna be balancing on your stomach, okay? So lift up, everything's off the ground, back down. Up, back down. Up, back down. So when you go up, you want to hold it for a little pause. I would say like a second. You don't need to count like 1, 2, 3, or you could count to 1, 2, 3 really fast. Up, 1, 2, 3, down. Up, 1, 2, 3, down. But you don't need to hold it for like a crazy amount of time. If you're somebody who's struggling with lifting either your legs or your arms off the ground, do whatever you can. If only your arms are coming up, do your arms. Your legs will probably move a little bit anyway. If only your legs are coming up, but your arms, you know what I mean? Do it the best you can. That one is really tricky because it's working the whole back of your body, which I had mentioned previously, is usually tight, it's usually weaker. So even if you're not doing it perfectly, do it the best you can and it's still going to help, okay? So that one, like I said, you're doing the number of reps, it's not necessarily rounds, and make sure that whatever number, it doesn't have to be the same for each, but if it's your snatches or your lunges, has to be the same number per side, okay?